Welcome to Wife Secrets channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. You don't wake up one day expecting your marriage to be tested by a cute dog. That's not how life works, or at least that's not how I thought it worked. But here I was standing in the living room trying to convince my husband that the Bernese Mountain Dog we both loved like a child hadn't betrayed him or me. And yet there was something in Henry's eyes that stopped me cold. It wasn't just the accusation. It was the undercurrent of something deeper, something darker. "Ava," he said, his voice shaking, "don't gaslight me." I saw it. I wanted to laugh, scream, cry all at once. "Henry, listen to me, you're tired, you're stressed. And you're making something out of nothing." But Henry's face didn't soften. If anything, it hardened. "You're not listening, I'm not crazy." She thought I was overreacting. That was clear from the way she looked at me, like I was a child throwing a tantrum. But it wasn't just what I'd seen. It was everything else, every little thing that had been gnawing at me for months. Ava had been distant, not in an obvious way, but in those small, insidious ways that creep into a marriage when you're not looking the way. Her laughter felt more forced the way she avoided eye contact. When I asked about her day, the way she seemed to retreat into her own world, leaving me on the outside and William, he had become her shadow. At first I thought it was sweet how she doted on him, how he followed her everywhere, but over time it started to feel excessive, like I wasn't just sharing my wife with a cute dog. I was competing with him when I pulled into the driveway that night and saw through the window. I can't explain it. It wasn't just what William was doing. It was the way Ava didn't pull away, the way she looked so comfortable. Henry's silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. William, sensing the tension, slicked out of the room, his tail low for the first time in years. I felt a crack in the foundation of our marriage, a crack that no amount of explanations could seem to mend. Henry the First said softly, stepping closer. "This isn't about William, is it?" His eyes flickered, but he didn't respond. "Talk to me," I urged. "Tell me what's really going on." He let out a bitter laugh. "You wouldn't understand, try me." For a moment. I thought he wouldn't. But then he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's not just this," he admitted, his voice raw. "It's us. We're not us anymore. Ava and I don't know when that happened or how to fix it." The words spilled out before I could stop them, and once they did, I couldn't hold back. "It's like I'm losing you. I confessed, you're here, but you're not really here. And every time I try to reach you, you pull away. I don't know if it's work or stress or me, but I feel like I'm standing on the edge of something and I don't know how to stop it." Ava stared at me, her eyes wide. I couldn't tell if she was shocked or hurt or both. "Why didn't you say something before?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I didn't know how," I admitted, "and then tonight happened and I thought you thought I was with William." She sounded incredulous, but there was no anger in her voice, just sadness. "I thought you'd replaced me," I said honestly. "With him, with work, with anything that wasn't me." Hearing him say it out loud broke something inside me. I had been so wrapped up in my own world, my deadlines, my exhaustion, my growing frustration with the monotony of our routines that I hadn't noticed how it was affecting Henry. I hadn't noticed how distant I'd become. "Henry," I said, my voice trembling, "I'm so sorry." He looked up, his eyes glistening. "For what?" "For everything I said, for making you feel like you didn't matter, for not realizing how much you were hurting." He shook his head. "It's not just you. I haven't exactly been perfect, either. I've been holding all this in, and then tonight I don't know it just all came out." We stood there facing each other, the weight of unspoken words filling the space between us. For the first time in a long time, it felt like we were really seeing each other. After that night, the air in our house changed. It wasn't like the movies. There were no grand gestures, no sudden epiphanies where everything magically clicked back into place. What happened instead was quieter, slower. It was like learning to live with a stranger who was once your closest friend. Henry and I had built walls around ourselves over the years, little by little, without realizing it. His walls were made of silent resentment and mine were made of exhaustion and avoidance. Breaking them down wasn't easy. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. The first step came the morning after our argument. I woke up to the smell of coffee. For a moment I thought I'd dreamed the whole thing, the confrontation, the tears, the awkward silence that had followed. But then I saw Ava sitting at the kitchen table, staring at a mug in her hands, like it held all the answers she was looking for. "Morning," I said, my voice rough. She looked up, startled. "Morning." We stood there for a moment, the awkwardness thick between us. Then she gestured to the chair across from her. "Do you want to sit?" I nodded, sitting down as she pushed a fresh mug toward me. "I was thinking," she began, her voice hesitant, "that maybe we could take a walk later with William, you know, just get out of the house." I raised an eyebrow. Ava wasn't the spontaneous type. She liked her routines, her to-do lists, her neatly planned schedules. A random walk on a Wednesday morning. That wasn't her, but something in her eyes stopped me from questioning it. "Sure," I said, taking a sip of coffee, "that sounds nice." It wasn't just about the walk. It was about starting somewhere, anywhere to rebuild the bridge between us. And as ridiculous as it sounded, William was the perfect starting point. We drove to the park that afternoon, the kind with sprawling trails in quiet corners. William bounded ahead of us, chasing squirrels and wagging his tail like nothing in the world could ever be wrong. For the first 10 minutes, Henry and I didn't say much. We just walked the crunch of gravel beneath our feet, filling the silence. Then, as we rounded a bend in the trail, he broke the quiet. "I'm sorry for accusing you," he said. Suddenly. I glanced at him, surprised Henry. "No, let me finish." He interrupted what I said that night. "It wasn't fair to you or to William." I couldn't help but laugh softly. William doesn't seem to have taken it personally. Henry smiled, a small, hesitant smile that made my ****T ache. "Still. I need you to know that I trust you. I always have. I let my insecurities get the better of me." His words hit me harder than I expected. I reached out, taking his hand. "I haven't exactly made it easy for you to trust me lately. I've been so caught up in my own world that I forgot to let you in, and that's on me." We walked in silence for a while, our hands still clasped. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Over the next few weeks, Henry and I began peeling back the layers of our relationship, the good, the bad, and the things we'd been too afraid to confront. One night, overtaken an old rom-com, Henry confessed something that broke my heart. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "I feel like I'm not enough for you, like you need more than I can give." I put down my fork, staring at him. "Henry, why would you ever think that?" He shrugged, avoiding my gaze. "I don't know, you're so capable, so good at everything you do. And I guess I've always felt like I'm just here." Hearing him say that made me realize how blind I'd been. Henry wasn't just here. He was the reason our home felt warm, the reason our lives had rhythm. He was my anchor, the person who held me steady even when I didn't realize I needed it. "Henry," I said, my voice thick with emotion, "you're everything to me, and I'm sorry if I haven't shown that enough." That was the night. Something shifted, not all at once, but enough to give me hope. Ava had always been the strong one, the one who seemed to have it all together. But in that moment I saw her vulnerability. I saw her heart, and I realized that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. Amid all of this, William continued to be William. He greeted us with his wagging tail every morning, nudged our hands when we seemed too serious, and occasionally stole socks from the laundry basket just to make us laugh in his own way. He reminded us of what really mattered, the small everyday moments that make life worth living. Healing wasn't linear, there were still arguments, still moments of doubt and frustration. But there were also moments of laughter, of connection, of quiet reassurance. And somewhere along the way, Henry and I found ourselves again, not the people we used to be, but the people we were becoming. Leave your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.